The spotlight came on before anyone was ready for it. The crowd was still murmuring, phones half raised, when the famous singer stepped forward, her heels clicking sharply against the polished stage floor. She smiled, but it wasn't warmth, it was challenge. Her eyes drifted toward the side of the stage, where a man in a faded blue janitor's uniform stood frozen, clutching a mop like it was the only thing keeping him upright. "You clean this place every night," she said into the mic, her voice smooth and confident, "so tonight, clean up the silence too. Sing. Alone." Laughter rippled through the hall. No one noticed the way the janitor's hands trembled, no one except the camera, slowly zooming in, capturing the moment that would change everything. Before we go further, if stories of hidden talent, unexpected comebacks, and emotional justice move you even a little, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. These stories remind us that greatness can come from anywhere, and you won't want to miss what happens next. His name was Daniel Cruz, though almost no one knew it. To most people in the concert hall, he was just the janitor, the man who arrived after midnight and left before dawn, quietly sweeping away the remains of applause meant for others. Years ago, Daniel had a different life. He grew up in a small town where music was everything. His mother used to hum old ballads while cooking, his father played a battered guitar on the porch every Sunday evening, and Daniel learned to sing before he learned to write his name. Teachers once told him he had a rare gift, perfect pitch, emotional control, a voice that could make people feel things they didn't have words for. But life, as it often does, had other plans. His parents fell ill one after the other, medical bills piled up, and dreams were quietly packed away in exchange for survival. Daniel moved to the city, took whatever work he could find, and eventually became the man who cleaned the floors of the very stages he once dreamed of standing on. The famous singer, her name was Aurora Blake, was everything Daniel never became. International awards, millions of followers, sold-out tours. She was known for her flawless technique and icy confidence. What the public didn't see was how terrified she was of being outshined. Her career had been built on control of her image, her sound, her surroundings. That night, when she noticed Daniel softly humming backstage as he worked, something in her snapped, not curiosity, but threat. She decided to make an example of him. A joke. A reminder that stages belong to stars, not janitors. So when she forced him into the spotlight, Daniel felt the old fear rise up, the fear of being seen, judged, laughed at. The audience waited, some amused, some uncomfortable. The band fell silent. Aurora folded her arms, already smirking. Daniel looked down at the floor, took a slow breath, and for a moment, considered refusing. But then he thought of his mother's voice, his father's guitar, and all the songs he'd swallowed over the years. He stepped forward. The first note changed everything. It wasn't loud. It wasn't flashy. It was pure. The kind of sound that made the room go still without anyone realizing why. Conversations stopped. Phones steadied. Daniel closed his eyes and sang like he had nothing left to lose, because in that moment, he didn't. His voice carried pain, hope, regret, and resilience all at once. He hit notes that weren't just technically perfect, they were emotionally devastating. Notes Aurora had never dared to attempt. Notes that didn't show off, but told the truth. As the song built, the crowd leaned in. Some people felt tears without understanding why. Others remembered dreams they had buried. Aurora's smile faded. She tried to laugh it off at first, but then Daniel soared into a range that silenced even her pride. He wasn't performing for applause, he was releasing years of silence. When the final note faded, there was a heartbeat of stillness, and then the room erupted. A standing ovation from people who, minutes earlier, had been laughing. Daniel opened his eyes, confused, almost startled by the sound. He wasn't used to applause. Aurora stood rigid, clapping slowly, her face unreadable. She forced a nod, muttered something into the mic about unexpected talent, and quickly ended the segment. But it was too late. The cameras had captured everything. Within hours, clips of the janitor who outsang a star flooded the internet. Millions watched. Millions listened. And millions felt something real. The next weeks were overwhelming. Producers reached out. Vocal coaches praised him. Talk shows invited him. Daniel was offered opportunities he never imagined, but the most important moment came quietly. Aurora requested a private meeting. When Daniel arrived, he expected arrogance or excuses. Instead, he found a woman stripped of her stage persona. She admitted what she'd done. Admitted her fear. Admitted that she'd mocked him because she saw in him something she was afraid she'd lost: authenticity. She apologized, not for the cameras, not for the headlines, but because she knew she was wrong. Daniel listened. He didn't gloat. He didn't lash out. He accepted the apology, not because she deserved forgiveness, but because he deserved peace. He went on to build a career slowly, on his own terms. He sang in small venues first, then bigger ones. He told his story openly, not as a victim, but as proof that talent doesn't expire just because life gets hard. The inspiring message was simple, yet powerful: never judge someone by the uniform they wear or the position they stand in. You never know what song they're carrying inside. And sometimes, the most beautiful voices are the ones that have waited the longest to be heard. If this story moved you, inspired you, or made you see people a little differently, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us share more stories like this, stories that remind us that greatness often hides in plain sight. The lights in the concert hall were already bright, but something heavier hung in the air that night. The audience had come expecting a flawless performance from a famous singer they admired, someone whose voice they had heard 1,000 times through screens and speakers. What they didn't know was that they were about to witness a moment that would shake their beliefs about talent, respect, and hidden dreams. Before the music even began, the singer stepped forward confidently, her heels echoing against the stage floor. Her eyes moved across the hall and stopped at a man standing near the side, quietly holding a mop. With a half smile and a tone that sounded playful but felt sharp, she called him out and told him to sing alone. Laughter spread across the audience, light at first, unaware that this single moment would change everything. Before the story unfolds further, take a second to support this channel. If you enjoy emotional, inspiring stories like this one, please like the video and subscribe. Your support helps us bring more powerful stories to life, stories that remind us never to judge too quickly and to always believe in hidden potential. The man's name was Daniel Cruz. He was 42 years old, a quiet janitor who worked long nights cleaning places filled with applause meant for others. Most people never noticed him, and those who did rarely remembered his face. Daniel didn't mind. Life had taught him how to be invisible. But what no one in that hall knew was that music had once been his entire world. As a child, Daniel's home was filled with sound. His mother sang while folding clothes, his father played old songs on a worn guitar, and Daniel learned to match every note perfectly. Teachers praised his voice, neighbors stopped to listen outside his window, and people told him he was special. For a while, he believed it too. Then life intervened. His parents fell sick, bills piled up, and dreams became luxuries he could no longer afford. Daniel left school, took any job he could find, and promised himself he would come back to music someday. But someday turned into years, and years turned into silence. Singing became something he did only in empty rooms, late at night, when no one could hear him. Eventually, he found work as a janitor in a large concert hall. Every night, he cleaned the stage where others stood in the spotlight, never imagining he would be asked to stand there himself. The singer, Aurora Blake, was the complete opposite of Daniel in every visible way. She was 35, confident, successful, and adored by millions. Her voice was technically perfect, trained and polished through years of professional coaching. But behind the applause and awards was a quiet fear she never spoke about, the fear of being replaced, of losing the attention she worked so hard to keep. When she heard Daniel humming softly backstage as he worked, something inside her tightened. It wasn't curiosity. It was insecurity. In that moment, she decided to remind everyone, including herself, who truly belonged on that stage. So she called him out, handed him the spotlight, and waited for the joke to land. Daniel felt his heart pounding as the room turned toward him. His hands shook, and for a brief moment, he considered refusing. He could already hear the laughter in his head, feel the embarrassment burning his chest. But then he remembered the boy he used to be, the one who loved music before fear took over. He took a deep breath, stepped forward, and closed his eyes. The first note left his lips softly, almost fragile. The room quieted in a way no one expected. Conversations stopped. Phones lowered. Daniel's voice carried something raw and honest, something untouched by ego or performance. He wasn't singing to impress anyone. He was singing because it was the only way he knew how to speak his truth. As the melody grew, so did the emotion behind it. His voice climbed higher, stronger, reaching notes filled with pain, hope, and resilience. Aurora's confident smile faded. She watched as Daniel reached tones she had never dared to attempt, not because she couldn't, but because she was afraid. Afraid of vulnerability. Afraid of failure. Daniel sang without fear because he had already lost everything he thought mattered. And in doing so, he found something far greater. By the time the final note faded, the hall was completely silent. For a single heartbeat, no one moved. Then the applause erupted. People stood to their feet, clapping, cheering, some with tears in their eyes. Daniel opened his eyes slowly, unsure of what was happening. Applause was something he had only imagined, never experienced. Aurora clapped too, slower than the rest, her expression no longer mocking, but conflicted. That night didn't end on stage. Videos of the performance spread across the internet within hours. Millions watched the janitor sing. Millions felt something shift inside themselves. Comments poured in from people who said they had given up on their dreams, from others who realized how often they judged without knowing someone's story. Daniel's life changed almost overnight. Offers came from producers, invitations from shows, messages from people who believed in him. But the most important moment came quietly, days later, when Aurora asked to meet him privately. There were no cameras, no audience. Just two people facing the truth. She apologized, not with excuses, but with honesty. She admitted her fear and her mistake. Daniel listened, not with anger, but with understanding. He forgave her, not for her sake, but for his own peace. Daniel didn't become famous overnight. He chose to build his path slowly, carefully, singing in small venues, sharing his story, staying true to himself. He became a reminder that talent doesn't disappear just because life gets hard, and that sometimes the most powerful voices are the ones that waited the longest to be heard. This story leaves us with a simple but powerful message: never judge someone by their role, their clothes, or their position. Every person carries a story you can't see, and sometimes, the greatest gifts are hidden in plain sight. If this story moved you, inspired you, or made you think differently, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Your support allows us to continue sharing stories that uplift, inspire, and remind us all to believe in ourselves and in others.